Hi everyone, it's list time. We're going to go through all of the different types of variables which store other variables inside them. Let's just jump straight in, I guess. So if we have, I'm just commenting here, if we have let's say that we wanted to store a bunch of animals. We have like fish, we have cat, we have dog, we have bird. Let's say that we want to store all of these, and we can go through all the different ways we can store them. So the most obvious one is that we can have a list of a string. And then this, we can add in the variables doing this. Okay, there we go. So this is our first, this is an array. So an array stores everything at a certain position. So we can loop through this array. We have the fish is at position 0, the cat is at position 1, the dog is at position 2, and the bird is at position 3. If we want to print out a specific item in the array, we can do system.out.println, and then we can just print animals position 0, and that should print our fish. Let's give it a shot. Nice. We can also set this to a variable. So we could say int I equals 2, and then instead of putting 0 in there, we can put I in there, and it will print out dog at position 2. There we go. So now if we wanted to loop through and print out every item in the list, we can do a loop. So we can go for int I, so we're going to define I again, and it has to equal 0, and then we say while I is less than animals.length, then we'll add 1 to I, so I++ is an incrementer, it adds 1. Then we will print system.out.println animals at position I. So what this will do is it'll loop through. It will go from I equals 0, so that will print out fish, and then it'll add 1, and then it will say is I less than animals.length. The length is 4. So 1 is obviously less than 4, so it will print out animals 1. It'll add 1 to I again, and then it'll check is it less than animals length. Now it's 2. 2 is less than 4, it'll print dog. Add 1, go to 3. 3 is less than 4, it'll print bird. And then it'll add 1, and then I will be 4. Is 4 less than 4? No. So then it exits the loop. Okay, so we can run this. And that's how we loop through our array. There are a few other fun sort of things you can do with an array. You can do string animals limited. That's just a name that I've come up with, equals new string. And then you can define the length in here so that it is set at a length of 4. So that's really good for memory management. And then of course you can do the same thing. You can do animals limited equals this, and it'll work exactly the same way. So that's an array. So let's move on to our array list. So once we define an array list, it's very similar to an array, but this will be referenced. It'll be called a list in other languages like Python. It will be called a list. In Java, they call it an array list. And it's very similar, but it's got a little more flexibility. It feels a little more modern. So if we go array list, we have to define the type again. So we're doing a string, and then we'll call it animals. We'll do the exact same example, equals new array list string. And that's how we define our array list. So you can see it already suggesting it there. If we want to add an item into our array list, we can do animals.add, and then it's suggesting cat, so we can do that. Animals.add dog, animals.add horse. What else is it going to suggest? .add, it's got cat again. No, we'll do bird. Okay, so this is how we add to our array list. So to loop through an array list, we can do for string animal in animals, Although you can keep in mind that this really is just a new variable. You can call it anything. We could just call it this animal. We can call it whatever we want, but it's just standard usually. If you've got like one with an S at the end, you have one without the S at the end. It's very standard. We can do system dot, yeah, it's suggesting it there, dot print line animal. And then this is how we loop through our array list. So it's very similar. There we go, cat, dog, horse, bird. And then you can do collections dot sort animals. And this will sort the animal list. So we can see like birds down the bottom, but it probably should be at the top. So there we go. It sorts it for us. We can also do animals dot remove. And we can remove dog from the list. There we go. It's not that easy to do that in an array. You can set it to an empty string, but it won't necessarily shift the positions afterwards backwards. You'll have to do that manually. We can also get the size of our array list. We can see how long it is. System.out.print line. So you remember we did the length earlier. This time we can do animals dot size. And this will give us the size of the array list. There you go. We have 3 items in our list. Similarly to an array list, if we changed this, so I'll just show you an example where I'll duplicate a record. So we've got dog there. We won't remove it. We will sort it though, and we can print it out. So you can see that dog appears twice here. If we change this to our next data type, which is a hash set, it can also be called a set in Python. Set. So this is a hash set in Java. It's usually referred to as a set. It's also referred to as a set in maths. So instead of an array list, if we have a hash set, you can see that it won't let you sort it. So we'll just get rid of that. If we print this now, you can see that dog only appears once. So if you're familiar with maths, you know that a set doesn't allow you to store duplicates of the same item. So this is really good when it comes to optimizing a solution for finding different objects, especially if there are duplicates and you don't need to store all of the duplicates. A set is great. And then finally, we have a hash map. So a hash map allows you to store 2 values associated with each other. So if we do hash map, we'll store a string with a string. We'll call this animals again. We'll call it animal attributes equals new hash map string. There we go. So that's a hash map. See, now it's suggesting how to add to a hash map. So animal attributes dot put, but we'll put dog with I was gonna say bites. And then animal, just because I've got a puppy, so attributes dot put, we'll do cat scratches. This isn't a very positive way of looking at the pets, but you know, animal attributes dot put, we'll do chicken, and we'll do pecs. Okay. Fishes. Okay, now we can actually system.out.print line. We can actually just print the animal attributes and it will print it. There we go. So it appears as a dictionary, if you're familiar with that. So the great thing about a hash map is that it's really quick to look up using the index. So we can just get one of the indexes. So we'll get a dog and it should output bytes, since dog is the key and then bytes is the value. There we go. If we do chicken, we'll get pecs. The hash map is renowned for being quick. So the thing about a hash map is you won't necessarily use them for looping so easily. if you want to loop through a list, is typically better than a hash map, just because it's more usable. It obviously depends on your purpose. You could have two array lists that also work alongside them. So I'll show that next. So we have parallel arrays. So if we create two arrays, which are the exact same length. Okay, so now if we loop through int I equals 0, while I is less than animals.length, I plus plus. Whoops. Okay, so now we can print out system.out.println, and I'll actually show you, we'll do printf, and I'll show you a string format. So we can do a and then animal. So we should put in a string here. The animal likes to bite, I'll say bite, scratch, peck. Okay, likes to blank, and then we'll do a new line. So the system.out.println automatically adds a new line character to the end of the string, although printf is a print formatting, and that does not print out the new line by default, so you have to add it to the end. And then what we're going to do, as it suggests here, we'll do the index of the animal I, and we'll also do the animal attributes I. Okay. So you can see that as we loop through these arrays, we're printing out the same index values. So as I was saying earlier, dog is at position 0, cat is at position 1, chicken is at position 2, and then if we go down here, bite is at position 0, scratch is at position 1, and peck is at position 2. So then once they're aligned, and I'll just move it over so you can see them here, then you can see that these are associated. So that's why as we're looping through, it's printing the same values. So this is really useful sometimes. We will eventually get to interview questions. I feel like they're a great way to learn programming and feel comfortable with it. And you'll find that this is used quite commonly in your interview questions. Okay, so that's all we have to go through today. We've gone through the difference between an array, an array list, a hash set, and a hash map, otherwise known as a dictionary, and a hash set, otherwise known as a set. I hope you feel comfortable with those, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.